So you're building something that could seriously change the world. You need an IP strategy that's just as ambitious. Today, we're going to crack open the global patent system and show you how to turn this incredibly complex set of rules into your own secret weapon for growth.
Okay, let's get real for a second. This is the classic founder's nightmare, right? You've got an invention that you know has global potential, but the idea of protecting it in every single country, it just seems impossibly expensive. So what do? Do you drain your runway on legal fees, or do you risk someone else grabbing your innovation? It really feels like a trap. But what if I told you there's a much smarter way to play the game?
The old way is just a frantic, expensive scramble. But the smart way, it changes everything. We're going to be talking about a system called the Patent Cooperation Treaty, or PCT for short. And look, this isn't about spending less, it's about spending smarter. It literally turns a ticking clock that causes panic into a strategic roadmap that lines up perfectly with how your startup actually grows. Now, this whole strategic journey kicks off the moment you file your very first patent application. That one action starts a countdown for a really critical 12-month period. Think of it as your bridge to the rest of the world. This date is everything. It's called your priority date, and it is the anchor for your entire global strategy. It's like planting a flag in the ground on that specific day. From this moment on, you get a full year to decide if you want to go international, all while keeping the benefit of this original filing date. So this is our map for the whole journey. We're going to come back to this a few times, so get familiar with it. And I want you to notice how each one of these milestones, 12 months, 16, 22, and 30, isn't just a legal deadline. It's a strategic checkpoint for your business. That first 12-month window, that's your strategic breathing room. You don't have to start picking countries or paying a ton of fees yet. Nope. Your only decision at the end of this year is whether you want to file one single PCT application to keep all of your global options on the table. That's it. And just think about how valuable that time is. In this first year, you can actually test your product, you can talk to real customers, you can even go out and raise your next round of funding. You're getting real-world data about whether this thing has legs, all while your ability to protect it globally is safely preserved.
Okay, so you've made it. You've crossed that 12-month bridge, you've filed your PCT application. Now we get into what I call the mid-game. This is where you get your first piece of absolutely invaluable global intelligence about your invention.
Let's pull up our roadmap again. We are now right here at the 16-month mark. This is when the system gives you something incredibly useful back. It's basically your global report card. Now, its official name is the International Search Report, or ISR. But I want you to think of this as business intelligence, not a legal chore. What it does is it scans the entire globe for what's called prior art, any other inventions out there that are similar to yours, and it gives you an early opinion on whether your idea is truly new and inventive. This report is pure business gold. I mean, if you get a strong ISR, that is powerful validation you can take straight into an investor meeting. And you know what? If it highlights some potential problems, that's also great news, because it gives you an early heads up so you can tweak your patent claims or even pivot your R&D focus before you spend the big bucks.
All right, this brings us to a part of the timeline that's, well, it's kind of a pro move. A lot of people overlook this step, but for a really savvy founder, this 22-month mark is like a secret weapon. Back on our map, you can see this optional milestone right here, the strategy tune-up. This is your chance to actually respond to the feedback you got in that report card a few months earlier. So think of this as your last global tune-up. You can amend your claims, you can argue your case, and you can get a revised opinion before you dive into the really expensive phase of filing in individual countries. Getting this right at this stage can save you an enormous amount of time and money down the road. All right, so we've spent the last couple of years validating our idea, gathering intelligence, and fine-tuning our strategy. Now comes the moment of truth, where all that strategic patience really pays off. Here we are at the final checkpoint. It's usually around 30 months after that very first priority date. And now it's time to make your choices and start filing in the specific countries where you really want protection. Let's just pause on that for a second. The system gives you nearly 2.5 years from your initial idea before you have to commit serious capital to national patent filings. That is an incredible strategic advantage. You're not guessing anymore. You're investing with real insight. So how do you choose which countries to go into? Simple. You let your business strategy lead the way. Where are your customers? Where do you manufacture your product? Where do you see your revenue coming from in the next 3 to 5 years? Your patent map should be a direct mirror of your business map. It's all about targeted, smart protection.
And this all brings us to the most important takeaway of all. It's about a shift in your mindset. You see, the patent process isn't some bureaucratic hurdle you have to suffer through. It's a strategic framework that you can leverage. When you look at it this way, the timeline perfectly mirrors a startup's actual journey. First, you validate your idea, then you sharpen your strategy with real-world feedback, and finally, you invest in expansion with confidence, backed by data. So are these pressure points or checkpoints? When you see them as checkpoints, each date becomes an opportunity. It's a chance to review your strategy, to align with your business goals, and to make a smart decision instead of a panicked one. This really is the core idea right here. The PCT system isn't designed to slow you down. It's actually built to give you the time you need to make informed choices. It gives you a predictable structure for taking your idea global. And ultimately, using the system effectively shows that you're in control, that you're thinking strategically. I mean, walking into an investor meeting and clearly laying out your global IP plan, a plan that's backed by 2 years of data and refinement, well, that's not just good legal practice. That is a powerful sign of leadership. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Is your IP strategy just another legal task you have to check off a list? Or is it a core part of how you lead your company? Because the answer to that question will define how you grow. The choice is yours.